Hi, this is Eric with diffuserdoc.com, and in this video I'm going to talk about the fan that runs this Young Living Home diffuser. This one's okay, and it's working well, and it's pushing out the mist, and it's not making any noise, but in some cases you'll hear that the fan is making a loud noise, either squealing or grinding, or making, noise when it's trying to start. Also, you may notice that the disc is creating vapor, but it's not blowing out of the hole, nothing's coming out. Those are some of the signs that the fan has failed, and one of the reasons that can happen is because the fan's at the very bottom, as you'll see when I take this apart. And it can get water in it if you ever accidentally pour this way where there's an air hole right here. Then water will run down right near the fan, and it won't hurt it every time, but if you do it often enough, then the fan will get wet and stay wet and eventually fail. So I'm going to take this apart, and we're going to go ahead and replace the fan. This is an example of a fan that has failed, and you can see the dirt and things that are attached to the blades, and it can make a grinding or squealing noise when it starts. And this is a new fan. Looks the same, it's just clean. And so we're going to take this apart and change it out. So first we'll start by removing these two screws at the bottom. And set them aside. And take the two, almost like a clamshell, take this apart. If it's easier for you and you can keep the wires straight, you can go ahead and unplug things. If you're not quite sure, maybe leave them attached, but don't pull on them. And to get the fan out, you'll see down here next to these, there's two screws on either side that we need to remove. And I'm going to go ahead and take this one out over here. It's at the very bottom of the unit. And this one on this side. And that should loosen the base up enough to take this out. And then you can see that the fan pulls right out. In this case, label side up is the way you want this to install. And to remove it, there's a plug right here on the side. Pull the plug, remove the fan, set it aside, take your new fan and plug it back into the same spot. And we want to set it into this, there's a little slot here. And you can see these heat sinks here. That's part of one of the jobs that the fan does, that actually cools these electronics off and makes the unit function better. In addition to blowing the water vapor out, it actually cools the electronics off. So now we want to finagle this back down onto these little posts where they came off of, and tighten these. Notice I didn't take the screws all the way out because I didn't want to try to fuss with them and try to get them in there on camera. But so tightening them back down. Just doing this one on the other side. You probably can't see it, but basically reverse the steps of taking it apart. And tighten down the screws. And then do a quick double check. Our wiring's in, the fan's in, everything's flat. And you can see that since at the bottom of this unit, if you dump water in here enough times, that the fan can get wet, or it just fails because it runs a lot. If you run your diffuser a lot, the fan's always running. So it's a moving part, and they eventually fail. So the fan replacement's done. We're just going to put this back together. We're going to line these two posts up with the holes and pop these two clamshells together. Make sure that the Young Living symbol is in the same side as the switch and no wires are pinching on the inside. Looks like I'm going to have one pinching. Yep. So that's a catch for everyone. Make sure that no wires are pinching. If nothing's pinching, everything will be seamless. And we're just going to replace our two bottom screws. And if you have any questions or doubts when you do this, don't be afraid to take it apart again and just double check all the wiring and make sure that nothing's pinched, or make sure everything's seated firmly on the bottom. Take your time. I'm doing this kind of quick. So that's tight, and we're going to go ahead and give it a test. So I'm going to plug some power in, and we'll give it some water. And let's see, we'll line this up with the vent and give it a test. It's running well, nice and quiet, plenty of vapor, and it's back in business. So if you had a really noisy fan, this should take care of it. It'll also keep things running smooth for a while because it's cooling so the electronics off. We sell the fans on diffuserdoc.com, and we appreciate your support. On Facebook as well at facebook.com/diffuserdoc.